You're listening to The Literary Deep Dive. Each episode takes you beyond plot summaries into the heart of classic literature, exploring historical context, literary techniques, themes, cultural significance, and how these works have shaped our understanding of the human experience. This is a literary exploration that enriches your reading, sharpens your analysis, and deepens your appreciation of the written word.
Welcome back to the Literary Deep Dive. I'm Richard Backus, publisher of University Teaching Editions, and this is our fifth episode examining S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders. In our previous episodes, we've explored the novel's historical context, structural design, memorable characters, and powerful themes. Today we're examining something equally important but often overlooked: Hinton's distinctive writing style and language choices. We'll examine how she utilizes first-person narration, handles time, crafts authentic dialogue, and employs literary devices to bring this story to life. Understanding style and language is crucial, whether you're analyzing the author's craft for an essay, teaching narrative technique, or simply appreciating what makes Hinton's prose so effective and accessible. This technical analysis reveals the artistry behind what appears to be effortless storytelling. As always, this comes from our comprehensive University Teaching Edition study guides on Amazon. These guides encompass everything we discuss, along with detailed style analysis, literary device identification, and breakdowns of writing techniques. Search University Teaching Edition to explore our complete catalog. Let's examine the craft behind The Outsiders. The power of first-person narration. The Outsiders employs first-person retrospective narration through Ponyboy Curtis, and this choice fundamentally shapes our experience of the story. Ponyboy provides intimate access to his consciousness while enabling both immediate dramatic engagement and reflective analysis that helps us understand events and their broader social significance. What makes this particularly sophisticated is the retrospective perspective. Ponyboy functions simultaneously as a participant in dramatic action and as a mature analyst of its meaning. He's living through these events while also looking back on them with greater understanding. This dual temporal position enables sophisticated literary technique, while avoiding artificial wisdom that would compromise character authenticity. Think about it. Ponyboy is writing this story after everything has happened. He knows how it ends. He knows what he's learned. But he manages to preserve the emotional immediacy of the experience, making us feel what he felt in those moments while also giving us insights into what those moments meant. That's not easy to pull off, especially for a 16-year-old author. Ponyboy's position as a sensitive observer and intellectual among characters primarily defined by physical strength makes him the perfect narrator. His literary interests and analytical capacity create a natural framework for thematic exploration while maintaining a credible character voice. He can articulate complex social observations without sounding like an adult author imposing sophisticated analysis on teenage characters. The limited first-person perspective creates narrative intimacy while constraining our knowledge to Ponyboy's understanding and observations. This generates suspense. We don't know more than Ponyboy knows. We discover things as he discovers them. We're surprised when he's surprised. This technical choice maintains psychological realism while serving dramatic purposes. Is Ponyboy a reliable narrator? This is an important question for any first-person narrative. Can we trust what we're being told? With Ponyboy, the answer is nuanced. He's generally reliable. His intellectual curiosity and commitment to truth-telling establish credibility. His analytical capacity enables sophisticated observations about character motivation and social dynamics. But emotional involvement creates potential bias. Ponyboy's psychological trauma and grief may affect his perception and interpretation of events. The retrospective framework suggests temporal distance that enables more objective analysis, but he's still deeply affected by what happened. He loved Johnny, he feared Dallas, he misunderstood Derry for most of the story. His social position as a member of a marginalized group offers an authentic perspective on working class experience while potentially limiting his understanding of middle class and upper class viewpoints. This limitation reflects realistic social boundaries rather than undermining narrative reliability. It actually contributes to the novel's exploration of how social position shapes perspective. Ponyboy's youth and inexperience naturally limit his understanding, but his intelligence and sensitivity enable accurate observations within these constraints. The combination creates a realistic narrative voice that acknowledges boundaries while providing valuable perspective. He doesn't claim to know everything, and that honesty actually makes him more trustworthy. His moral integrity and commitment to family and friends establish an ethical foundation for truthful reporting. He's willing to acknowledge complexity and contradiction in himself and others, demonstrating psychological sophistication that enhances credibility. When he admits uncertainty or emotional involvement, we trust him more, not less. Handling time and creating structure. Hinton's manipulation of time in The Outsiders is remarkably sophisticated. The primary narrative unfolds over approximately 1 week of intensive dramatic action, while the retrospective framework suggests additional temporal distance. This dual structure creates both immediacy and perspective. Compressed time during crisis periods intensifies dramatic impact. Think about how much happens in that single week. Initial attack, encounter with Cherry, fight at the park, killing, hiding at the church, fire, Johnny's death, Dallas's death, trial, and recovery. In reality, processing any one of these events would take time, but the compression creates pressure that forces rapid character growth while maintaining psychological authenticity. Temporal transitions between scenes employ various techniques: direct chronological progression, time gaps requiring reader inference, and temporal markers establishing sequence. Flashback sequences provide essential background information naturally through character memory and association. Ponyboy remembers his parents, recalls previous conflicts, and thinks about past conversations. These memories integrate past and present without interrupting dramatic momentum. Psychological time reflects character emotional states. Moments of intense emotion or trauma receive extended treatment, while routine activities are compressed or eliminated. This creates realistic psychological rhythm. Time really does seem to slow down during crisis and speed up during ordinary moments. The retrospective narrative framework enables temporal flexibility while maintaining overall chronological structure. Ponyboy can look back and say, I didn't understand then what I understand now, without breaking the emotional authenticity of the original experience. It's a sophisticated technique that serves both dramatic and analytical purposes. Self-awareness and meta-literary elements. The Outsiders demonstrates sophisticated awareness of the storytelling process itself. The circular narrative structure, beginning and ending with Ponyboy's composition, creates explicit acknowledgement of storytelling while providing a thematic framework for understanding literature's role in personal healing and social communication. This meta-literary device validates artistic expression while maintaining narrative coherence. When we realize at the end that we've been reading Ponyboy's English theme the whole time, it recontextualizes everything. The story becomes not just about these events, but about the act of processing and communicating experience through writing. References to literature and popular culture throughout the narrative demonstrate character awareness of storytelling traditions. Ponyboy discusses Gone with the Wind, recites Robert Frost, and mentions movies he's seen. These references contribute to character development while exploring how stories shape our understanding of experience. The novel's treatment of social stereotypes demonstrates awareness of how literature can challenge prejudice through representation. The work acknowledges its own potential impact. It's not just telling Ponyboy's story, it's arguing that stories like Ponyboy's deserve to be told and heard. Vocabulary and authentic voice. Hinton's vocabulary choices demonstrate a remarkable balance between authentic adolescent speech and literary sophistication. Contemporary slang and youth culture language create realistic character voices while establishing temporal and social context. Words like tough and rumble ground us in specific cultural moments without becoming incomprehensible to later readers. Regional dialect and Oklahoma speech patterns contribute to geographical authenticity while avoiding exaggerated or stereotypical representation. The incorporation of regional language is subtle enough to create an authentic voice while maintaining universal accessibility. Class-based vocabulary differences distinguish social groups without caricature. The contrast between educated and vernacular speech serves thematic purposes, while maintaining respect for diverse linguistic traditions. Ponyboy's vocabulary reflects his academic achievement while remaining authentic to his age and social position. He uses words like simultaneously and references literary works, but he also uses street slang and talks like a 14-year-old boy. Literary and cultural references demonstrate character education while providing accessible entry points for readers. When Ponyboy talks about Gone with the Wind or recites Nothing Gold Can Stay, it reveals his character while introducing readers to cultural works they might not otherwise encounter. Emotional vocabulary enables psychological depth while maintaining realistic adolescent emotional expression. Characters express complex feelings through natural language without artificial sophistication that would compromise authenticity. Sentence structure and rhythm. The sentence structure reflects authentic adolescent speech patterns while demonstrating literary sophistication through varied syntax. Simple sentence construction predominates in dialogue, creating natural conversational flow. I like it. Let's go, and that's cool. The dialogue sounds like actual teenagers talking. Complex sentence structures emerge in narrative passages, demonstrating Ponyboy's intellectual development without compromising his authentic voice. Early in the novel, sentences tend to be simpler. As Ponyboy matures and processes his experiences, the syntax becomes more sophisticated, reflecting character growth. Sentence fragments appear in emotionally charged or dramatic moments, reflecting natural speech patterns and psychological states. Dead. Johnny was dead. The fragment creates emphasis while maintaining a realistic portrayal of thought under extreme stress. Parallel sentence structures create rhythmic emphasis while reinforcing thematic concerns. The repetitive patterns enhance memorability and emotional impact. Stay Gold, Ponyboy. Stay Gold becomes unforgettable, partly because of its parallel structure and repetition. Varied sentence lengths create rhythmic diversity. Short sentences create urgency and emphasis. Longer, more complex sentences allow for reflection and analysis. The alternation between short and long reflects natural speech rhythms while serving artistic purposes of emphasis and pace. Dialect without stereotype. Hinton's treatment of dialect deserves special attention. Oklahoma regional speech patterns are evident through subtle vocabulary choices and pronunciation suggestions, but she avoids heavy dialect that could create reading difficulties or cultural caricatures. The restraint shows respect for her characters and readers. Social class linguistic differences distinguish character backgrounds without judgment about correctness or superiority. There's no suggestion that educated speech is inherently better than vernacular speech. Different characters demonstrate various forms of wisdom and insight regardless of formal education. Youth culture language and contemporary slang create temporal authenticity while remaining comprehensible across time periods. Hinton selected enduring rather than ephemeral expressions, maintaining relevance while providing historical context. Educational differences affect character vocabulary and syntax without creating false hierarchies. Ponyboy is more educated than most gang members, but that doesn't make him smarter or more valuable as a person. Different characters demonstrate intelligence in different ways. The variation between casual and formal language reflects situational appropriateness, demonstrating character adaptability and social awareness. Characters can code switch when necessary, showing sophisticated understanding of social contexts and communication strategies. Literary devices that illuminate themes. Hinton employs figurative language strategically to create vivid imagery and emotional resonance while maintaining an authentic adolescent voice. The devices emerge naturally from character observation rather than imposing artificial literary sophistication. Sunset imagery serves as a central metaphor for shared human experience transcending social boundaries. Ponyboy's observation that everyone can appreciate the same sunset regardless of social class creates an accessible framework for exploring universal themes. It's simple but profound. Natural beauty doesn't recognize economic divisions. Animal metaphors characterize social groups while avoiding dehumanization through balanced portrayal. Comparing greasers to wild animals suggests freedom and natural authenticity, while characterizing socks through domesticated imagery implies constraint and artificial refinement. But the metaphors don't reduce characters to simple categories. Fire symbolism appears throughout, serving multiple purposes: destruction, purification, and heroism. The church fire creates a literal and metaphorical framework for character transformation, demonstrating how dangerous situations reveal essential character. Light and darkness metaphors establish emotional and moral frameworks while creating atmospheric effects. The contrast between enlightenment and ignorance serves philosophical purposes while maintaining a realistic environmental description. Water imagery provides contrast to fire, representing cleansing, renewal, and emotional healing. References to swimming and bathing establish a psychological framework for understanding change through natural metaphors that avoid heavy-handed symbolism. Irony as social criticism. Situational irony serves thematic purposes throughout, creating emotional complexity that enhances reader engagement. The social outcasts who become community heroes during the church fire create a powerful, ironic reversal that challenges social stereotypes. Ponyboy and Johnny, seen as juvenile delinquents by society, risk their lives to save children. The irony exposes the arbitrariness of social prejudice. Verbal irony in character dialogue reveals personality and social awareness while creating humor and emotional relief. The natural use of ironic language reflects authentic adolescent communication while serving characterization purposes. Dramatic irony arises when readers know more than characters, creating suspense and emotional engagement. We understand things characters don't yet grasp, heightening dramatic impact while maintaining character authenticity. The irony of violence creating understanding and connection challenges simple moral categories. Through fighting and tragedy, characters develop deeper appreciation for life and human connection, an ironic outcome that requires nuanced analysis rather than simple judgment. Economic irony regarding wealth and happiness highlights how material circumstances don't correlate with emotional satisfaction. The Sox have money but face their problems and unhappiness, while greasers lacking material wealth demonstrate strong emotional bonds and loyalty. The rhythm and flow of prose. Hinton's prose rhythm demonstrates sophisticated control of pacing and flow, while maintaining an authentic adolescent voice. Conversational rhythm and dialogue creates authentic character voice through natural speech patterns reflecting regional and social backgrounds without exaggerated dialects. Narrative pacing alternates between rapid action, sequences, and reflective passages, creating a dramatic rhythm that maintains reader engagement. The varied pace reflects psychological reality while serving artistic purposes. We need both excitement and reflection. Sentence rhythm within paragraphs creates musical quality while avoiding monotonous patterns. Variation in sentence length and structure reflects natural thought patterns while serving aesthetic purposes that enhance reading experience. Emotional rhythm reflects a character's psychological states, creating a sympathetic reader response through linguistic patterns, mirroring internal experiences. The connection between emotion and linguistic rhythm serves both characterization and reader engagement. Dramatic rhythm builds tension through alternating intensity and calm, creating a satisfying artistic structure and emotional experience. The careful control of dramatic flow serves both entertainment and educational purposes while maintaining thematic coherence, style evolution, and character growth. Stylistic development throughout the novel reflects character growth and changing circumstances. The opening chapters establish an accessible style while introducing complex themes through straightforward language, enabling immediate reader engagement. Crisis periods intensify stylistic drama while maintaining character authenticity and psychological realism. The language becomes more urgent and more emotionally charged during traumatic events while preserving essential character voice. Reflective passages develop increased complexity while maintaining an authentic adolescent perspective. Ponyboy's growing sophistication reflects character development while serving educational and thematic purposes. We see him learning to think more deeply and articulate more clearly. Character growth creates stylistic evolution while preserving essential voice and personality. The development serves thematic purposes while maintaining psychological realism that supports both educational and artistic achievement. The resolution achieves stylistic maturity while maintaining essential authenticity and accessibility. The final style demonstrates growth while preserving fundamental character voice and literary quality that ensure enduring appeal. As we conclude this examination of style and language in The Outsiders, I hope you appreciate the remarkable craft behind what seems like effortless storytelling. Hinton's choices about narration, vocabulary, sentence structure, dialect, and literary devices aren't accidental. They're sophisticated techniques serving both artistic and thematic purposes. The first person retrospective narration creates intimacy and perspective simultaneously. The authentic adolescent voice maintains accessibility while enabling complex thematic exploration. The careful handling of time creates dramatic intensity without sacrificing psychological realism. The literary devices illuminate themes without becoming heavy handed or artificial. What makes Hinton's achievement extraordinary is that she accomplished all this as a teenager herself. The level of technical sophistication we've discussed today would be impressive from any author, but from a 16-year-old high school student, it's remarkable. She had natural talent, certainly, but also a clear understanding of narrative craft and literary technique. Understanding these stylistic choices helps us appreciate not just what Hinton says, but how she says it, and how those choices shape our reading experience, emotional responses, and thematic understanding. This is the craft that makes The Outsiders not just a good story, but great literature. In our next episode, we'll examine the symbols and imagery that run throughout the novel, from sunsets and Gone with the Wind to Hair and Cars, exploring how Hinton uses concrete objects and images to develop abstract themes and deepen meaning. These symbolic elements add layers of significance that reward careful reading and analysis. The complete University Teaching Edition study guide for The Outsiders is available on Amazon with comprehensive style analysis, literary device identification, sentence level technique breakdown, and writing craft exercises. Search University Teaching Edition to explore our full catalog. Thanks for joining us on the Literary Deep Dive. Until next time, keep reading deeply.